Truth can be hard to swallow sometimes, but it is necessary, which is exactly why today I'm going to present to you one harsh truth about every ATP top 30 player. Some of them are going to be serious, some of them are going to be me just nitpicking, so remember to not take it too personally. So let's start off with the 30th best player in the world, Stefanos Tsitsipas, and it's over. It is simply over. Maybe he needs to take like a year off tennis, heal his back problems, figure out what he wants to do with the coaching situation and return to the tour fresh with a protected ranking. Cause he's not old yet, he's just lost, so stepping away for a bit might help him understand what he wants to be as a tennis player. In 29th is Denis Shapovalov, and he will forever be a big fish in a small pond. Those 250 wins will not hide the fact that he underperforms whenever there's even a glimmer of serious adversity. Denis is a mental midget and I don't see it ever changing. Next up is another Canadian, Felix Auger-Aliassime, and he has done the impossible. He's probably the first player ever to win 3 titles in a season and to still somehow have a bad season overall. Winning Adelaide, Montpellier and the Hopman Cup is cool and all, but it is disgusting to have only 3 overall wins in Masters and Grand Slam tournaments in August. In 27th it's Jiří Lehečka, and he is the best Czech player on the tour, but ranking wise he's only 3rd. He needs to get his shit together and get where he is supposed to be in the rankings. Next up is Alexei Popyrin, and it's inevitable that we will see him fall out of the top 30 after the US Open swing. I simply don't see him replicating the success of the last year when he won the Canadian Masters and went to the round of 16 at the US Open. Next up is probably one of the most informed players in the world right now, it's Alexander Bublik, but this level is simply not sustainable, cause if it was, he would have been playing like that before this little run. So Bublik enjoyers, get ready for the inevitable return to form and the standard excuses of, oh, I actually don't care about the results and actually I hate tennis. You know, the Nick Kyrgios method. Francisco Cerúndolo and Hugo Humbert are back-to-back in the rankings, and I have the same thing to say about them both, and it's that they are just solid ATP gatekeepers, but nobody will genuinely believe that they are contenders for the big tournament. In 22nd is Tomáš Machač, and I can deal with short shorts as I'm a bit of a short shorts enjoyer myself, but I like wearing them on the beach, not when I'm doing sports activities. So Tomáš, I must be the one to tell you that this length of your shorts is getting out of control. Following Tomáš, it's Arthur Fils, and this is nothing new for the Frenchman, but considering how good he is, I think it's time to produce an actually solid Grand Slam run. Starting off the top 20 is Grigor Dimitrov, and this injury might be the beginning of the end for Grigor. I know I'm not a genius for saying that, but it is pretty harsh to say that someone is done as a top player, but that's just how I feel. In 19th, it's Alejandro Davidovich Fokina, and there will be a lot more 11 AM starts in the future, which means that early mornings, and by early I mean normal people mornings, will happen again in the future. This was genuinely one of the most bizarre complaints that I have seen in regards of scheduling, so I had to drag him a bit for it. Jakub Menchik is not as good as people are making him out to be. Just because he beat a pretty washed Djokovic in the final in Miami doesn't mean that he will be a Grand Slam winner in the future. He's literally just a worse version of Ben Shelton. The harsh truth about Flavio Cobolli is that he is not a threat to anyone who is actually good. 1-14 record against top 10 looks pretty sad, to be honest, so I fear that Flavio will spend his career being around the top 30, top 20. Next up it's Karen Khachanov, and when the time passes he will be one of those players that will be forgotten. Even though he has been a top 30 player for almost a decade now, the guy has been consistent, there is no denying that, but he just isn't eye-catching, so there would be no reason to talk about him in 10-20 years. In 15th is Tommy Paul, and no matter how well he plays, he will stay in the shadow of other American players. Ben Shelton, Taylor Fritz and Frances Tiafoe are taking the spotlight away from him in a way, so he will always be underrated by the American fans, even though he is great and an entertaining player to watch. We have seen the last of Daniil Medvedev as a realistic Grand Slam title contender and a top 8 player in the world in general. I predicted this at the end of the 2024 and the decline is happening happening right before our eyes, and I just don't think that he can stop the inevitable. In 13th, it's Casper Ruud, and he needs to start playing in Wimbledon. Yes, the glasses for golfers joke was funny, but come on, it is kinda crazy that a top 15 player in the world willingly decides to not play at the most prestigious tournament of the year. Casper, you need to try to play in the future on grass. Next up is Frances Tiafoe, and the annual great US Open swing is not enough to become a world-class player in the eyes of the public. Everybody knows that August, September is Big Fo's time. He always brings the best to these tournaments, but those are only 2 months of the year, so the public can be very dismissive of the talent and the entertainment value that Frances possesses. Next up, it's Andrei Rublev, and the problems with his temperament and behavior on the court will never go away, and the promises of him trying to improve will stay that, just promises. I mean, the guy is 27, almost 28 even, so something extraordinary must happen to make these promises a reality, and I simply don't see that happening. Just a quick one for Lorenzo Musetti, who's in a 10th spot in the rankings, and he is just a bit shit on hard courts, isn't he? So I assume that this stretch of the season will be difficult for the Italian. Next up is Holger Rune, and the trajectory of Holger Rune's career has been relatively disappointing. After the triumph in Paris, the expectation was that Holger will be a consistent threat at the big tournaments. But as of now, we have only caught glimpses of greatness from the Dane, and it's undeniable that there is potential to do much more. Just inside at top 8, it's Alex de Minaur, and his game has a high floor but a very low ceiling in comparison to other top players in the world. You can always count on Alex being able to beat those below or on his level, but whenever he comes up against top players, it's a long day, which is backed up by a combined 3-25 record against players named Sinner, Alcaraz, Djokovic or Zverev. Ben Shelton can be very annoying, which is why he will always be polarizing. The college player tendencies shine through during all of his matches, and those tendencies are very American. I personally find them pretty funny, but there are people who will resent him just for this. Next up is Novak Djokovic, and he won't win another Grand Slam title in his career, and it's not like he doesn't have a lot of those, but we all know and understand that the reason why Novak is still playing is his desire to win that one last Grand Slam. But I just don't see that happening, and it must be a bit annoying that technically he is not the sole player with the most singles Grand Slam titles. Starting off the top 5 is Jack Draper, and he is a player that brought me the most trouble for this video because his season has been very good, so I need your help with this one in the comment section down below. But I guess my truth that is still not that harsh is that there is still ways to go to reach that Grand Slam success. Even though Taylor Fritz is the best American player on the tour, he still isn't the most likely one to win a Grand Slam in the future. Taylor is a great all-around player, but he isn't exceptional at any aspect of the game. Yes, his serve, baseline game and athleticism are of the highest caliber, but at the same time there are players who are simply better than him in those components, which is why he rarely has a definitive edge over world-class players. Starting off the top 3, it's Alexander Zverev, and there always will be that deserved negativity cloud around him because of his behavior on the court, but more importantly outside of it. A significant portion of tennis fans will always associate him with two things: being an alleged abuser and a choker on the big stages. And now let's get to the top 2, and first up it's Carlos Alcaraz, and if he continues being such an inconsistent player, there is a huge chance that even with all the talent that he possesses, he won't be the most accomplished player of this generation. The rollercoaster matches slash tournaments that Alcaraz takes us on is the reason why he is beloved by the majority of the tennis world, and at the same time it is the reason why we have seen him produce some underwhelming results in the big tournaments. And finally, Jannik Sinner, and he will never be the face of tennis. Even if he becomes statistically the best player of this era, he still will be in the shadow of other players popularity wise. And I fully understand that that's not the goal for everyone. His goal is to be the best tennis playing machine in the world, but these are the consequences of such mindset. Which players need a reality check? Let me know in the comment section down below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, take it easy, my friend.